Are you planning the perfect llama party? Well, you're going to need some llama plushies to do the lovely Adopt a Llama station. And I'm going to show you how to do one using this template. Now you see that the template shows the amount that you need to cut for each piece. Now, when you're tracing them, make sure that this piece right here and this piece right here, you flip them over when you do the second piece so that you have both sides of the llama. Now for fabric, I'm using a blanket that I bought on the store, but this material frays very easily when you cut it. So you want to make sure that you spread your pieces of the template on the fabric and you leave enough space between the line and the edge so that you can sew confidently. Once you have your pieces cut, you want to use pins, and I did this cute little cactus pin cushion just to keep in theme, but I do need to make it a base for it because it keeps falling off. So you want to go ahead and pin the pieces wrong side with the wrong side, and what I mean by that is that you want to pin the pieces that are written on or drawn on, and leave the pieces that are not drawn on in the inside. And you want to pin around the lines, and you want to make sure that the pin goes on one line to the other, and this way you're going to make sure that when you're stitching on one side, it is stitching on the same line on the other side. Once you stitch the first ear, just go ahead and turn it, and you're going to have something like this. And don't worry about, okay, again, you can see the fraying starting to happen and some leftover threads. Don't worry about that because the ear is going to be big enough that enough space is going to go inside the plushie so that it'll be safe. Now once you're done with the ears, you're going to want to get this piece, which is the inside of the body, and you want to get both of them, and you're going to go ahead and pin them together on the top, like this part right here on both sides. Now once you're done stitching the inner part of the legs, open it like so and place one of the large body parts good side with good side. Now we're going to pin it looking for good points of references to line it up, like the corner of one leg with the corner of the leg on the back. And we also want to find other points of references like the inner corners of the legs right there, and go ahead and pin the whole piece together. The more pins you use, the more sure you'll be that when you stitch it, it'll line perfectly on both sides. Now you'll see here that I am using a sewing machine, and please don't judge me. I am a total noob with the sewing machine, so if you see that my technique is not really good, then, well, you know why. Now you're going to see in this video that I am going to hand stitch a lot of the parts of the llama, especially the hard parts in the head. And so if you don't have a sewing machine, you can easily just go ahead and hand stitch the whole thing. I would advise that even though if you're hand stitching, go ahead and pin it, because this is the best way to make sure that all of your pieces are lining up perfectly. So once you're done with that, you're going to want to repeat the same step on the other side with the other large body part. And when you're done, you're going to want to turn the legs out, and you want to push it with your thumbs to make sure that there aren't any holes, places where you could have missed a stitch. And if you did, well, you just have to turn it around and correct it. And our llama body is starting to shape up, and we want to check that our stitches are good and they are lining. I'm checking the front part. It lines. Oh, does it line? No, it doesn't line. And I'm so sad because I'm going to have to use the Sim Ripper. Now, correcting my mistakes must have thrown me out because my footage of the snout is not very good. So I'm going to show you here with the template. These pieces that I'm circling right now are the pieces that are the snout, and you have to do them in a different color or different fabric. And you're going to want to line this part with, no, you know what? I'm just going to do another snout just to help you out. I'm going to have to do another one using felt. So here you go. This line, this triangle with the center of this like lip shape, and go ahead and pin one side first, and pin one side first and stitch it, and then pin the other one. Don't try to pin it both at the same time. Just trust me on that one. And go ahead and make sure that the corners are the ones that you always start with. Those are the ones that are going to give you the best lineup, and they're going to give you your shape. It's going to be more centered. If you don't pin it correctly, then it's going to be crooked. And so now we turn it, and we have a little snout looking really cute. And we're going to get this triangle shape that was in the template, and we're going to go ahead and pin it to the top of our snout. Now here's my original fabric with decent footage. Well, and decent because this footage is also going to be a little bit out of focus, but it's not as bad as the other footage of the snout was. And so you're going to want to line the good side with good side. And yes, your trusty pins are there. And go ahead and start always on the corners. Right there, we're going to start with the upper corner of the head, the one that looks like a line in the template, and pin that to the very top of the triangle of the snout. Make corrections if you need to, and make sure that you pin the corners first. And then once you have pinned those corners, now you can go ahead and pin the rest of it, because you'll know where the center of the snout is, and you'll pin without being crooked. And so I'm done hand stitching it. Look at that. That just makes me so happy. And we want to make sure that we check those alignments. Yes, that's lining really good. And so we go ahead and move on to the eyes. Now I could have put the eyes right in the template, although I don't know how you would transfer that into the fabric. But I like to freehand them. You can make them big, you can make them small. You can add the eyelashes if you want to make it a little bit more girly, or skip the eyelashes if you want to gift it to a boy and he's going to feel eyelashes are too girly. And go ahead, and we're going to use a back stitch with this one, a very simple back stitch. And what we want to make sure while we're doing this is that we are looking back and see that there are no gaps between our stitches. Right there, always check back. There are no gaps between the stitches, and that the length of the stitches are being as equal as possible, the same size as possible. And if you're happy with what you have, you can go ahead and just tie a knot. If you're not happy, well, you can just go ahead and repeat it. Like it's a very simple stitch to repeat, and you want to go ahead and do it on the other side. And you can go ahead and start pinning the head. Now, once you've done a few stitches on the head, you want to pin the ear. We want to pin the ear a little bit behind the eye, like not too front of the head. And you want to make sure you leave enough space on the top so that it can be securely stitched in. But you also want to check the bottom when you do the second one, that it's lining up with the first ear, and that they're the same height. Now go ahead and remove your pins after you're done stitching, and we're gonna turn it. And look at this. This is one of my favorite parts. And you can see my face, obviously. I am so enjoying this part. Yes! He's coming to life. And he's looking super cute. And we're going to go ahead and turn him over again. So, well, check the ears. Check that the ears are secure. Turn him over. And then we can go ahead and start pinning the neck. Now you might notice that my neck here has no marks, like the lines have disappeared. And this is because you might have noticed when I was doing the snout, my fingers they had a lot of marker on them. And so what happened is that I got marker all over the llama and I had to go ahead and wash it. So I lost my guidelines. But luckily, I lost them almost at the end, so I could just go ahead and eyeball it. Hopefully, this doesn't happen to you and you keep having your guidelines for the rest of the fabrication of the llama. And now we can go ahead and move on to the tail. Now, the tail is very simple. We have this circle that's on the template, and we're going to go ahead and do a running stitch on it. And it's a simple running stitch that is going to allow us to just insert a little bit of fabric or maybe some stuffing in there and just pull on it so that it goes tightly into a little ball like so. But you want to make sure you secure it. You can see there that I'm securing it with many stitches to keep the shape, because a running stitch, if you don't secure it, it will unravel. Now, yes, again, for the last time, we're turning upside down. We're turning it inside out. And you could go ahead and pin the tail here. But you can see that I'm just going for it, just going ahead and stitching the tail. And again, you can see that I've lost all of my guidelines after I had to wash the llama. And we're almost at the end stretch. We're just going to make sure that everything is looking cute, everything is looking nice, and we're going to go ahead and stuff it. And when you stuff it, you want to make sure that you really get into all the nook and crannies of our llama. Like, go ahead and really stuff it in the snout, in the neck, in the legs. Otherwise, he's not going to keep his shape and he's not going to look cute. And you want to stuff him a little bit tightly. Well, maybe not so tightly, but almost like a teddy bear. And you can see I'm finishing here with an invisible stitch. And you're going to go ahead and pull it to close that invisible stitch. And you can go over it a second time just to make sure, because an invisible stitch is almost like a running stitch. And we're on the last part of the llama, the nose. Now, I don't know why, like, you could do this while you're making the snout, but I like to do it when it's already stuffed. It just seems easier or simple to me. And it gives me an opportunity to, like, give it a different smile or, like, a different nose every time. I don't know why. It just turns out different, and I like it that way. It gives them character. And so, yeah, you just go ahead and make the shape of the face you want. I like to keep the mouth a little bit small, and then just go ahead and tie it. And are you ready? Ta-da! You can see that I made him a saddle with some tassels, some cactus friends, and even my pin cushion got a little bit of zhuzhing there in the end. And you can see him here with some other llamas that I've done. And I've actually done these exactly to do a llama adoption center. And you can see I did brown for the boys and pink for the girls. But he is my crown jewel. I love all the tassels and the pom-poms and his cute little tail. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.